do need to get other things ready, because I'm not going to forget to record audio this time. I promise I will not forget to record audio. I did it. I forgot to record audio on my buddy Brenton's podcast episode.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I had to, and the worst part is I was doing it all on Facebook Live at the time. And so, yeah. So, anyways, I was doing it on Facebook Live, and it also wouldn't let me download the video and put it on YouTube or anything. So it like randomly decided to crash on the one episode I didn't record audio on. And I was like, oh fuck. And so right. So I had to record the audio from Audacity, recording like from me playing it on the computer. And then I had to just upload that to YouTube with like my thumbnail up as the only video. So the only people that can actually see it's on Facebook. After that, I switched to YouTube Live. So because
nice.
I'm not the only one. I can always post it on YouTube, and apparently I can't always download from Facebook. So yeah, I'm not going to deal with that shit anymore.
All right, YouTube it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's a better platform anyways for all this shit. So whatever. Anyways, welcome to the Skulls and Knives podcast, everyone. If you're on YouTube, you've already had a minute and a half of me talking about audio issues. Subscribe, comment, like. Make sure you go to anchor.fm/Skulls and Knives to check out the podcast and become a supporting member as well. Every dollar counts. If you financially can right now. I understand a lot of people like myself are laid off. So anyways, also, if you have some spare change, make sure you check out the Rogue American Apparel link that is going to be down below. And check out their shirts and patches and shoes and all the other shit. Anyways, on the pod today, I have my good friend, Shawn. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Just trying to make sure everything's calm and dandy and stocked up, and I don't know about that, but just trying to be have enough food to last however long it's going to take. I cleaned out the car. I've been doing a lot of things that like I've put off because I'll do all this deep cleaning, and in the meantime I'll pack a small bug out bag, and like just getting shit ready for whatever happens. And yeah, how have you been dealing with this? So I know that did you guys get laid off
and everything for a month? And then obviously, as you know, any restaurant is not doing any like dine-in service.
Mm-hmm.
But where I work, they decided to just keep it shut down for 4 weeks and not do any dine-in or takeout. So yeah, I am now. Some of us, yeah, I think they sort of alluded to the notion that we've been losing money this year because of this.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, we're gonna start cutting breakfast, everyone, but also what they had to give to people at that point before they decided to shut down for 4 weeks was like, well, yeah, you can get like 2 shifts a week or something. And going from like full time to like a serving shift, is like obviously totally fucked for people.
Yeah.
But really that doesn't even matter anymore because it's not even fucking open. So, yeah, I guess, people there.
Oh.
Basically.
So basically the salary people get to keep their salary and everyone else is fucked?
I'm not sure. I haven't talked to any of them in super detail, but I would assume that there are no hourly people there.
Monday, or Tuesday, excuse me. So, like, it was Tuesday. It was my Monday. I'm sorry. And yeah, we had we ate a bunch of food and gave a bunch to everyone because we had to throw away everything,
Yeah.
And so that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, mainly because the kitchen's so small. But yeah, so now I just had to, file unemployment. I've been looking for side jobs and stuff. Probably gonna start doing Postmates here pretty soon. And so just trying to like survive a little bit. Yeah. Did you guys have anything like that did you guys have to like sit there and throw everything away and shit?
Yeah, I think the salary people ended up doing that.
Oh, that's nice.
Actually, yeah, and dropped off a bag of food. So that was a kind of nice little gesture of solidarity, I suppose.
Yeah, dude, she's the shit.
I love her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Paige is the best.
Yeah. If you don't know Paige, which probably most of you listening don't, she's awesome. Hopefully you have someone else like that you know in your lives that's just like totally selfless is the right word. Just completely awesome. Anyways, yeah, so what have you been doing these past few days then? Like, have you had to file for unemployment and shit like that? And how's that affecting your health care?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I don't have my insurance anymore.
Yeah, because you had it through work, right?
Yeah, and they aren't doing COBRA. So, like, if I wanted to have insurance, I would have to pay the full price, which is like $350 a month. And, like, juggling the math, it just doesn't make sense to have it. So yeah, I mean, I'm just another like uninsured, unemployed American. Started slipping.
Oh yeah.
But
well, and then so it's so funny to me that we can throw, however many trillions of dollars, 1.5 it was that day, and drop interest rates like a motherfucker. And then since then, now just throw as much money as we can at all of these programs that could have already been in place. Like, this whole UBI, $1,000 a month for the shutdown kind of thing. I mean, that 1.5 trillion could have paid for a lot of things that, like, oh, so you guys do have the money to do all these things. You just decide not to do them. Okay.
Yeah, it could have been great. Yeah, it could have been used for something. It could have been used for anything other than just propping up the stock market for like 20 minutes or so. But yeah, I mean, that's just how you can now everybody knows that they're just being lied to, which is a good thing. Like, it's a good thing for people to know that they are legitimately just completely full of dog shit, and we could have all of these things very, very easily, and doesn't mean that money like isn't going back into the market, just as like like juicing fucking like Apple's quarterly quota for 20 minutes is like like what is more meaningful to that market. Like, it's same results with like different people reaping the different kinds of benefits. And yeah, I mean, it's just it's fucking hilarious. And then he was like doing shit like cutting payroll tax. Did that happen?
I don't know for sure.
I know the Trump administration was saying something about cutting payroll tax, and that was right after the market was juiced, and then like right before all this shit went down in Oregon, where 200,000 people that are working in restaurants no longer have jobs. So it's just really hilarious. They're just like, yeah, we're gonna start stimulating the economy with a payroll tax, but like there is no payroll like to be taxed, I guess.
Yeah, well, and then
like even cutting a payroll tax is like, what is that? Like fucking $30 a check. What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, agreed. And like I saw earlier that they signed off on something that would alleviate pressure on small businesses and et cetera, et cetera. I don't remember exactly all of the everything. I just looked at like the headline and the blurb just a little bit ago. But anyways, it's generally like this bill to like help out, or at least intended to help out small businesses and such through this time, and they're aiming it directly at restaurants. And I'm like, that's nice. That would have been helpful before they laid everyone off. And that's what it was. They extended oh my god, what is it called? The sick leave shit. They were gonna help pay for all that. And I'm like, yeah, that would have been real fucking nice like 2 weeks ago, a week ago. Like that's not helpful to anyone, at least not in our industry. Like,
yeah, it's not going to help the first people who are considered non-essential. I suppose it'll help other areas of the economy once it starts getting shut down.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't really know how many other areas of the economy you can shut down before you have to start placing like, the Red Cross and the military and giving people food and shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's been stuff going around on Reddit and which again, this is social media, so take it with a grain of salt. On Facebook and stuff like that they're going to implement I forget what it's called. What's that plan called? Hannah? Basically it's similar to like martial law kind of deal. At some point where National Guard is going to be deployed to basically guard from going around on all those social media platforms about that, which I could totally see happening within the next couple weeks, even sooner.
And in order to do something like that, like it definitely seems like very scary, but it's probably, I don't know, who knows? Like maybe it's probably like if you want to like, really like take a look at the numbers of cases of this shit, like we're pretty much on track with Italy right now. Mm-hmm. And then like come Sunday, like if we are still on track with Italy, like we will have doubled from where we are right now. So like, I don't know. It's hard to gauge.
Yeah, and like I don't know if I'm necessarily scared by that. I mean, I might be worried for other people, but for me personally, like we have plenty of food. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of the I've been focusing mainly a lot these past few days on just eliminating as much worry from my mind as I possibly can, because I'm trying to, I'm a worrywart, so I've been trying real hard to not be a worrywart, and just take everything in stride and keep moving forward. And so like even the past few days, I haven't been super engrossed in the news circles or even like on my phone as much. Like I'll play video games. I know that for me, I will sit there and like, for instance, like the first day when they were starting to announce restaurant closures, I spent like an hour like packing our bags, like to like leave, like that's where my brain was. And so I don't like to be there, and I think it's good to be ready for that kind of stuff. But like I've just been trying to keep a really calm and chill mind about this whole thing, and not get too engrossed, because like I said, I tend to freak out when I don't need to. And so just being prepared for what I know can happen, and then like just trying to stay away from it. But anyways, I wanted to ask you, because you pay more attention to it than I do, and I feel like I pay as much attention as I can using this shit, to at least from what I've seen, seems like they're kind of using the primary, or
Oh yeah, they're certainly doing that. I mean they're either doing it intentionally or they're using it as an excuse to do it like unintentionally. But like either way, that's happening. Like just the numbers of like just vacuous retiree motherfuckers that have nothing else to do but vote, and endanger everybody. And yeah, like having Biden and the deal. So make sure to vote. Like it's like they're going against like what the CDC is saying.
Yeah, on purpose, at least to me.
I think that's pretty fair. I don't think that's like conspiratorial or anything like that. I think the primaries probably should have been pushed back, and they should have been, they should have moved to like mail-in ballots.
Yeah, I was gonna say they should.
If they really obviously taken the time to make sure that everybody would be able to have their vote. But man, it's the DNC and they don't give a shit. And they just want Biden. They're just going to try to push him into that position as quickly as possible. Like there's so many things you can look at, like the fucking 7-hour wait times at certain polling places, and fucking nightmare that you can a deep well that you could think about and for hours. And this is just the DNC. Like it's their party. Like there's no like gerrymandering or anything. There's no like Mitch McConnell's or Lindsey Graham's or anybody like that who are redrawing districts and trying to fuck voters over. Like this is entirely like the Democratic Party, and they're fucking blowing it, and it's completely embarrassing. And I feel really bad for people whose first time this was to vote. Like if this was your like first time to vote, I feel like I'm behind Biden like a day before Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like fucking Beto O'Rourke and Cory Booker, fucking Andrew Yang.
Yeah, Andrew Yang was a weird one. I was like, what? You're gonna back Biden? This early.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he's looking for like a job as a CNN talking head or some shit. Like who knows why he did that.
Oh,
and I mean, I guess Warren didn't endorse Biden, but she didn't fucking endorse anybody.
So what I think with Warren after watching the debates where Biden was, I don't know if Biden said exactly who his running mate's going to be. I'm imagining he hasn't yet, but when Biden was talking about, I'm definitely going to have a woman, and then the fact that Elizabeth Warren didn't endorse anyone, I think is, I don't know. I feel like if Biden doesn't pick Elizabeth Warren to be his VP, I'd be really surprised given those two moves. It just makes sense. It's like, hey, she's friends with Bernie. Her policies are close to Bernie. So if Biden wants to try and quote unquote unite the party, and I should say Elizabeth Warren's current policies are close to Bernie's, was the Biden VP pick. Like, I feel like that whole thing was a way to be like, I'm not on anyone's side, and then.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. Like, I'd have a hard time imagining like Warren supporters being okay with a Biden presidency, but also at the same time, like, I don't think Warren supporters like really have like much of a spine. Like, in the sense that like I think they just want her, like, their candidate like to win something, regardless of how that happens. Like I could see people doing that because everybody's so like shit scared of electing Trump again. That I suppose that it's possible, but it's just so weird because Elizabeth Warren has literally spent her entire career like arguing against pretty much everything Joe Biden has ever done, any real policy position that he's had. Warren was fairly opposite of parents.
Yeah.
That would be pretty ironic. The amount of donations that she got for that fucking fake story that she told about her being one of the kids on the bus, the busing argument, kind of a rich kid, richer than we ever were.
Yeah.
But so that either didn't happen and oh cool, this is the politics, is you just lie about shit and it doesn't matter because nobody's paying attention until the very, very end, and they treat it like it's the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's disheartening, and I feel bad for everybody who got into politics this year. I really feel bad for them because I don't think you'll really see those people voting ever again. Yeah, and I don't blame them at all.
No, me neither. It'd take a miracle to get some of these people back.
Dude, the amount of shit that they the Bernie campaign had to go through, 2016 too, or 2015 rather, but dude, this was a shit show. This is the worst primary I have ever seen or been a part of. It was just so bad in so many ways.
Yeah,
there's literally and fucking Elizabeth Warren stands are getting pissed off about people using snake emojis to make fun of. It's or just or Chuck Todd calling Sanders supporters digital brown shirts, or Chris Matthews comparing Bernie wins to the fall of France in the 40s.
Oh man,
it's just it was just a complete, which is it's pretty great. I will say though that every Elizabeth Warren voter in Washington should feel pretty good about pretty much guaranteeing the Biden win in Washington State. That's cool. It's cool for them. Joe Biden got 38%. Bernie Sanders was at 36.5%. Elizabeth Warren was at 9.3%. So that leaves about an 8% margin. So they should feel like they made somewhat of a difference in making sure Bernie Sanders did not win Washington. So good on ya.
Yeah, man. I mentioned this to several other people, and I've gotten some pushback on it. But after this, I think I say that if you lean left at all and you are currently registered as a Democrat, I say get the fuck off of that. Not saying, and again, I got a lot of flack saying oh, we need to be blue no matter who, that whole shit going around. For the presidential nomination. And I want to be clear, struggling with this, and I'm sure I'll be looking at the ballot going, fuck, I don't know what to do. Do I, exactly how I looked at it when Hillary was running against Trump. I stared at that thing for a good 30 minutes to an hour, just going damn it, I have to vote for Hillary. And that's what I thought at the time. And I'm probably going to be doing the same thing, looking at that thing and looking down the ballot going, fuck, what do I do? So I get the struggle. I get the struggle, and I get the blue no matter who, whatever, for the presidential. I'm not saying don't do that. What I'm saying is, if there's, because we only have a 2-party system, go sign up for a third party and register there, whether that's CPUSA or the Socialist Party of America or the Green Party, whatever it is. Just go somewhere else and vote for those people in your local elections. And then I'm not saying don't vote for Biden if he comes up. And I'm not saying, whatever happens, you do your thing. What I'm saying is we need to send a message to the DNC that all of us like me, who I started out independent and switched to the DNC so I could vote for those that signed up, and the progressives that were already in the party drop off to this shit. If Biden gets the nomination, it'll scare the living fuck out of them, and they'll have to go further and further progressive in future, regardless of what happens with Biden. Because middle finger to you, fuck you. We're gonna go to some other party.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, that's about all you can do. But no matter what they're going, no matter what happens, they're going to try to strong arm you. I think it's funny that people are getting pissed off at Bernie supporters, or they're like, you got to vote blue no matter who. Like, that's fucked up. That's just a vote for Trump, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. Like, that's like, in a way, like that, yeah, you're sort of right. But also, like the Bernie supporters are just doing what the DNC does every single election.
yeah,
And that is just like, strong arming into like potentially getting into a position of power. So like, I don't blame people for doing that. Like, it's what they do every 4 years. They guilt people into voting for some fucking asshole.
yeah.
So why not? Like the argument is like, well, if you would have had Bernie, then you would have guaranteed all of Bernie's voters. Like, and now you can't guarantee that those people are going to show up. Like, there aren't any like the amount of people that are like the never Bernie people is like, I mean, I suppose it's a thing. I guess have you ever seen somebody with like a Biden shirt?
Nope, not a one.
Or like no, never. Like he fucking like he has speeches in front of like 50 like donor assholes, and then like in like some private school gymnasium, and you have like 17,000 people coming in to see Bernie in like Tacoma, and just like seeing that juxtaposition, it's just kind of like, I just have a hard time believing that that they wouldn't do the same thing. But I don't know, man. It's like it's hard better than Trump, I guess, because he's maybe the worst. But there's no like generalized like voter sample. Like tell my friend who was in the Iraq War, whose life was completely destroyed by the Iraq War, and try to tell him that, like, Biden is objectively better than Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is the worst, but also Biden has consistently been wrong in almost every like policy decision. I mean, all you got to do is just watch him on like the Anita Hill trial, and you can just see like just what.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, it's crazy and stressful time for everything. I mean, you're looking at worrying about the actual coronavirus, worrying primaries going on, and then you're looking at a presidential run here very soon, and I don't know about you, but I just feel like everything that's been going on has just put me over the top. Like, I already run kind of high on a high stream, and then with everything going on right now, I am just on a whole nother fucking level of just crazy stressed out. And
it's been a busy year.
Yeah, Jesus.
This whole coronavirus thing, and is pretty much, I mean, I guess Republicans have been like loving him because he's getting a bunch of these judges and shit in the Supreme Court. But like, so I guess that's good for them. Cool, you got a racist judge who like doesn't believe in abortion. Like, yeah, cool. That's a cool thing to be excited about. Like,
right.
what else? What else did he fucking do? You know, whatever. I'll vote for Biden. It's a mail-in state, man. We live in Oregon. Like, you just close your eyes and you just like mark the little circle, and then you lick the piece of paper and you put it in your mailbox, and then you don't have to think about it. Maybe do a Hail Mary or something, or like some sort of like blood sacrament or something, and like I don't know, then it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I have a hard time imagining people like going to a like polling station and voting for Biden.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know. I have a hard time imagining like people.
I think they should put in a nationwide doing mail-in ballots. You have higher rates of people actually voting when you do that, and then you don't have to worry about any of this shit fucking up your primaries. You don't have to worry about the fucking Iowa caucus, which for some reason is a circus where they're fucking flipping coins and making people move around a goddamn room that just showed up voluntarily, and like it's like,
yeah, we'll never agree with you. I know what you mean, man. It's like, yeah, I think everybody should be a mail-in ballot. I think everybody should be able to vote in a primary, like regardless of who it is. Like, wouldn't you want to know what everybody wants? Who like have people in prison vote? Like, it's not like you're voting like in the general, although I kind of believe that people in prison should be able to vote anyway. But like,
yeah,
I mean, people in fucking jail for like a felony drug charge that's no longer a felony anymore, like have a lot more stake in who gets elected than fucking you or I do, frankly.
Yeah, that's goddamn true.
So like, I don't know. You would think that you would want everybody to vote, but not the case, apparently.
Yeah, I know that when you are registered independent, that you can vote in, at least I know for a fact, the DNC without completely switching to the party. You can do there's some form you fill out on there being like, hey, I'd like to vote in, you basically register for the Democratic Party for that primary season, and then you're still labeled as an independent. And so, but it's just extra steps. It should just be something you can do. It should be something you can go in and be like, hey, I'm an independent. I'm going to vote in the Republican primary, or be like, hey, I'm an independent. I'm going to vote for in the DNC, so that you can have, real, actual multiple party system rather than just a two. But I think in the meantime, mail in and making it easier for independents to vote is, and like you said, like prisoners and whatnot should be able to.
In a Latin American government that the CIA is overthrown, fuck it, they get a vote too.
Right. Oh man.
Why not? If you've ever been carpet bombed by America, you get a vote.
Hell yeah.
Like, fucking, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, it's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it a couple times on the pod, but I feel like, I don't know exactly. I mean, obviously you're very left, but I label myself as a socialist, communist thinker, at least, and not in an authoritarian way, more of in a I guess if you want to call where I am at that chart, like slightly anarcho-communist, which I think is an incorrect term for it. I would almost call it like a democratic communist, just based on the ideas that I have for the, and then I spend some time like actually, diving into what's happening now, just so I'm aware. But I just know that the shit's not working. And I don't know what anyways, the point to this whole thing is that the idea I had was to switch to a communist form of top-down government style, but then rather than having the the leader of the Communist Party up on top. You'd have the general public. And what you do is you create an app and a system of mail-in or mail-in ballot. If, let's say, if someone doesn't have a smartphone or whatever, they can opt into that. But most people have some sort of smartphone, and you would create some sort of app where you have a full-on security team actually running like anti-hacking software, like in person, ready to go, like all the time on that shit.
Mhm.
And I don't, have you ever seen the app Countable?
No, not
Okay,
familiar.
so what Countable does is it gives you like a list of issues, both sides. It has a space for public, for people that want to debate on it. And then you get to vote and make your own decision on different ballot measures that are going out, different bills, etc. And it daily sends their report in an email to your representative. Now, what this
Okay.
yeah, so it's like an interesting app. It's like trying to like make your voice heard kind of thing. But I actually got the idea from this app. I was like, what if we just did this? We don't need the representation. You don't need the Congress or the Senate. You can just have a direct democracy where the people are at the top. So you still have socialized healthcare, all the social programs of any progressive leftist would be a thing. You would still have, for instance, major industries be socialized. So, or I call them the necessary for human survival. So, for instance, the energy sector would be, so there's like SRP and A.M.A.R.I.C.A.N, and they both are technically companies that run energy, right? So you don't have that. Everything is ran by this top-down government system. Like I said, your healthcare, education, you'd have some form of UBI, some form of housing relief, and I think all those programs are super important, especially with AI and increasing technology. We're gonna come up to a point real soon where there are not systems in place as soon as you can, so that people are not struggling and dying in the streets because they don't have enough money in a capitalist system. So you have all these things.
Yeah.
So you have all these things work as socialized healthcare, or are all these major things socialized. You you then have, like I said, you switch to basically a two branch system, or I guess you could call it like a three branch system, but it's mainly a two branch system. So this top down style, the people are at the top and integrated in throughout. So you'd still elect a president per se, some sort of leader that would be kind of like a crisis leader, but that leader would be elected by the people and would be upholdent to the people, because at any given time, the people can issue, if enough people, like similar to a petition, if you have enough people sign the petition, you can bring it to the eyes of the courts to possibly impeach someone. So, and then you'd basically, similar to how communism runs top down, you have each, you have department heads also voted in, and then each basically system that the government runs between all three branches that we have now, between the presidential and legislative branch, right, would be broken down into different sectors. And so in different department heads, and those department heads would run them. Anyways, the people are involved in all this. Whatever bills and stuff the department heads and legislation that the department heads want to pass and write up, they write up, and they have to send back to the people to vote on. And then the people get to vote on whether or not they actually want it to happen after seeing both sides, et cetera, et cetera. And then how you keep this all in check, including the people, is you have a rotational based judicial branch. So belt slowly move up within each region, and then within those top judges of each region, let's say, I don't know, like 50 per state, those people would be rotational, and that would be your Supreme Court. So your Supreme Court would not be like, oh, we're gonna, get this guy in who's a conservative, or this guy in or who's a whatever. It would be entirely rotational, and that would free up the judges to be able to judge to what they really think is constitutional, and also without having to be beholden to some party or whatever. And you also don't have, judges sitting on the court forever and, ruining tons of shit they don't even really know about. And it's just like, I don't know, that rotational system for the judicial branch just makes so much more sense to me, because it allows for the judges to really just do what they think is just, and not have to worry about, oh man, if I do something wrong here, then shit, I'm going to be out on my luck with my party. They don't get party money. And so
having these assholes on there for like 40 years is really pretty disheartening.
Yeah.
shouldn't really happen in the first place. Just doesn't seem right. Because you don't really vote for them in any way, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
I've never voted for a judge.
Me neither. and so that, I mean, I'm gonna go into it even more in depth with my dad in an upcoming podcast we're doing, where he's going to be discussing the merits of libertarian, why it's better than socialism, and I'm going to basically be arguing from my personal socialist view and why I think that's better than our current system and his idea of libertarianism. So,
sounds fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good pod. I'm purposely not having a time limit on it. I have most of one of those composition notebooks now filled with notes and statistics and stuff like that. So I have to go in and condense them down to a few pages and put some post-it notes and such, so that everything can be all my arguments can be all lined up pretty nice and neat for that. So, but I think the parties and everything, how it works now, is just it's so fucked. And it's like that whole joke where, if oh man, I forget who was talking about it. I think it was Joe Rogan, actually, now that I think about it. But I'm pretty sure it is. He has a bit, I believe it's him, where he's talking about I think it was Andrew Jackson, or I think he just said the founding fathers in general. If they came back now and were like, hey, look what we did to the country, they'd be like, you didn't write any new shit? I wrote that shit with a feather. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why didn't you change anything? I wrote it with a feather on parchment. I hand pressed out of a fucking tree myself. What the fuck is wrong with you? It was my candlelight, you dumbass. Look at all this shit going on. Write something new. And so anyone who thinks that changing the Constitution or changing the way the government works is unpatriotic, I think is a foolish thing for them to say. I'll be honest, I love America as a culture, as a people. I think we can do better. I think this country could be, really cool.
Here. But yeah, I think we did kind of get off on the wrong foot in a lot of ways. There's better ways to do things. I think the sham is just the obsession with like Western individualism in America. Like, I don't really think it's like this like anywhere else. I guess it is a little bit like that in like the UK, but like everything is on like the individual's basis. Like there's no like communal like real like outside of like family relationships. like there's no real community. Whatever the hell, like some random small business venture, and like there's no community, so it just sort of kind of atomizes people, and it makes people feel a brand of capitalism that is just like obsessed with that. And you can have governments that have like social safety nets and like a hyper capitalist economy, right?
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's not like it doesn't have to be like it's not like a one or the other,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe China's a bad example because they're like more of an authoritarian dictatorship, but like they have a hyper capitalist economy.
Yeah.
Like that is like hardcore capitalism. Like Russia. That's gangster capitalism, man. That's like strong arming people into buying their energy. And they are not at all like a capitalist whose socialism as like some like scare tactic, as if like FDR, a fucking New Deal Democrat, wasn't the one that bailed us out of the Great Depression.
Right.
And we're about to go into another one, and we're not going to get our FDR. So good luck to us.
Hey, but we got Trump. We'll be great, right?
Oh yeah, dude.
We'll be fine.
Well, we did try. We tried. We tried everything. We tried everything that we could.
Oh man, have you watched the new A.M.A.R.I.C.A.N special yet?
I put it on actually. I think I did. What was that one called? End Time something?
Yeah, where the opening bit is where he's talking about the end of. Yeah. He was like, what you said just reminded me of like, yeah. I mean, the world's the world's on fire and everything, but we did what we could. We brought our own bags. Yeah, we did everything we could.
I don't know, man. I think the not me us, the Bernie thing. I think we did pretty good this year, all things considered. Racist voter suppression, a mass media market coalescing against the progressive movement, the global pandemic, DNC refusing to comply with the CDC and push the primaries back, Booker, Buttigieg, Buttigieg, Warren, Nazis, lobbyists, America's fear of Trump. But we still, we brought some fucking people. We brought some people out.
Yeah, I mean the Bernie. Like you have almost.
That's how powerful it is.
Yeah, and it's like it's like
that's something to feel good about, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit as long as we make it to the next one. I mean, hopefully, I'm not giving up all hope yet. There's still a little over 1,000 delegates to be had, but I mean, at this point, if it continues to trend this way, fuck. But I mean, yeah, it won't. I mean, it most likely. Yeah, I think the progressive movements, made a statement this time, and I don't think the DNC should just wash it away, especially when they lose, because that's gonna happen.
I can't wait to watch Elizabeth Warren get voted out in Massachusetts.
Right.
I cannot wait for that day. I'm so excited about that. I will share it so many times. Every Warren supporter on my fucking be so sick.
Oh man, I will definitely hop on that train. God damn it. I just want someone. God damn it. Fuck her.
Yeah. Well, it gave guilty white liberals another excuse to be guilty.
Right.
Giving her 10% of the vote.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for everything.
Mm-hmm. Fuck. I feel like that's the word of the week. Fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm legitimately, considering moving to Mexico.
Yeah, where would you move to in Mexico? I'm curious.
Punta de Mita, Nayarit. I think I'd go there.
Where exactly is that in Mexico?
It's like central. It's like west central. It's just west of Mexico City. Basically, it's a coastal town. It's where A.M.A.R.I.C.A.N lives.
Oh, okay, cool. I was gonna say why exactly there, like, but now that I know that A.M.A.R.I.C.A is there, makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I was thinking about moving into his house.
That'd be cool.
It'd be cheaper than living in Portland.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. How's your Spanish?
It's pretty awful.
So through that's one thing I'm gonna try and get better at through this shutdown shit is like try and better my Spanish, because I can read it just fine, like mainly from context clues. Like I couldn't read some complex poetry shit. I wouldn't be able to do that. But like I could read a newspaper in Spanish and at least understand for the most part what's going on. Or some at least now like pretty in detail. My problem is speaking it. So I'm gonna try during these 4 weeks, at least 4 weeks, to just like try and hone in on that and try and get a little better, because that's something I want to do. And I think I've been doing that, and then I just said earlier, and
dude, you should learn some AMLO speeches, just verbatim for learning Spanish. That'd be pretty sick.
Well, I have a new thing now too. I have a tiny notebook because I'm bad at remembering things. So I have a tiny notebook now I'm going to carry around with me everywhere to remember things. You said AMLO?
AMLO, yeah. Andre Manuel Lopez Obrador is the president of Mexico now.
Okay.
He's basically like Mexico's Bernie, dude. Like, he's killing it right now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Super, super cool. He's, so, if we don't get Bernie,
then... Bernie.
Yeah. I mean, he's got very similar policies. He's like, yeah, I don't know, he's sick.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about Mexico with this whole coronavirus thing, actually, because I was listening on NPR, and there was some health expert from Mexico on, and he was basically saying that Mexico is not preparing fast enough for it, and they need to like get ahead of the curve now, a lot. Even building houses in some of the poorer parts of Tijuana. And all I think about is how would those shutdowns work there? It's just such a different culture, and it's such a more gathered, and your family isn't just your family. Your family is the whole community. And so I don't know. There's a lot more foot traffic. It's the poverty is way higher there, which I know they've been working on a lot, especially in recent years to better the economy there, etc. But I don't know. That's something I got a little nervous about, and then thinking about the countries in Africa, the epidemic there, and I mean you're talking about They call Malawi a fourth world country. Much more, I shouldn't say Western, much more, I don't want to say civilized either, because that's demeaning as well. Technologically advanced countries that have, most people aren't living in huts. Most people aren't living in tin sheds and in poverty. With these countries, even you're seeing, decently high death tolls and a lot of people getting sick, and it's a scary thing. And I just especially today, my brain keeps going back to fuck, dude, once it really gets if this thing gets its teeth sunk in Africa, which I'm assuming it will, if this shit gets its teeth sunk deep in Central America, in South America, it's gonna be we think it's a shit show here. It's gonna be an extra big shit show there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely worried about some of those other countries, and I'm also, I hope it doesn't get that bad for them. I hope they get a chance at the world stage, right? Maybe the American economy will just take a total shit, and then but yeah, I mean, nobody knows any more than anyone else at this point, I guess. It's pretty fucking, it's wild. It's hard to have game theory, about a situation that really hasn't happened in a century.
Yeah.
It's hard to game it out,
Yeah. And so, one last thing before we wrap up here. I wanted to ask you how you feel personally about the virus itself. Are you worried about getting it personally, or no, or what? Or are you taking?
Of them were sort of out of my hands. Becoming unemployed and basically, taking showers.
That's good.
I don't know. I haven't really been going out a whole lot. There's nowhere to go out.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, medication. But other than that, my doctor tells me I'm in perfect health, which, I mean, go fucking whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're in perfect health, except you need to take this pill for the rest of your life. I don't know what that means. But yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't eat like shit, and I don't drink anymore. So I don't know. Those are kind of my precautions, and I'm just kind of a self-isolating weirdo anyway. So
yeah,
nothing new there. But I've not been giving out hugs and high fives.
Yeah, because you were honestly one of the first people I thought of when they were talking about how the virus affects you because of the pulmonary embolism and stuff like that you've had in the past. You were the first person I thought of, oh man, I wonder how Shawn's feeling about this, and having to remind myself, especially as of recent, or as it's gotten worse, at least with the shutdowns and whatnot, become more real. Because initially I was like, all this shit's blown over. What the fuck? Who cares? It's only affecting the sick people. And I was like, oh, Shawn, in the back of your head, it may not be you, but it could be someone you know. And so, especially the last few days, it's been fuck, man. I wonder, like I said, especially you. I wanted to ask you on here. I was like, oh, how,
yeah. I mean, I'm worried.
You're not doing spit shakes with people.
Yeah, no patty cake or no kissy or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I have no fear of that.
Good. Do you have enough food and stuff?
Yeah, I just made dinner actually.
Oh, nice. What'd you make?
Scraps that were given to me by Paige.
Nice.
A breakfast hash. It's Brussels sprouts and carrots and potatoes.
Yeah, dude. So that's something I thought was weird with. Sorry, one last thing, and I'll let you go. But something I thought was weird was that all of the protein powders and nutritional powders and shakes and the shelves of vitamins, fucking ass loads of it. Everything else gone, and it's like, are you guys nuts? Like,
Yeah. Are you guys high?
yeah. Like, what are you talking? You're not gonna buy the multivitamins? Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you not do that? Like, and then so like we bought like one container of the protein powder, and we're just like just in case, like just in case we need to start skimping on meals that I have in the freezer, dry goods I have. Like if Hannah and I, or even the kids, we need to go, hey, one meal a day, we're just gonna have this protein shake, and like if it gets that far, like at least I have something to start with. And so it's like I was just so confused by that, like walking around like that everyone bought, which I did buy some of those too, by the way. But like, does it taste as good as all this shit? No, but is it way more nutritious and way less perishable? Like, just like what?
Yeah, our culture is not. I mean, clearly, if there's one thing that we've learned, is like, dude, like wiping your ass is going to be like the very least of your worries in like 3 weeks.
Yo, go like old school Polish Eastern Blocker and just wipe your ass with a newspaper. They're famous for that. Like,
yeah, yeah, dude.
Like, dude, I mean, I say this as I have tons of toilet paper, mainly because we couldn't find any at the moment at like a week ago, and then we were like, I told them, and then also bought this, which I'll show everyone on the pod in a second, but this roll of like, I don't know, it was beans. So she like bought us a roll of that, and then
Nice.
so I have ass load. If you need toilet paper, Sean, I have ass loads, and I will drive it to your house.
But, oh, nice. Yeah, I think I should be good for now. Hey, a little pro tip though for your listeners. You can once bars open up, if they ever do again, or restaurants for that matter, you don't need toilet paper. You just go to the restaurant, and what you can do is you go on Amazon and you buy a little key, one of those little keys that get you into the toilet paper dispensers.
Oh yeah.
And then you just go to a bro bar that you hate, and then you steal all their toilet paper, and then you feel a little bit better about yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, those keys are ironically really easy. Now, well, and that's the funny thing too, is all the memes of from all these gun rights pages that I'm on and whatnot. Both right and left wing, they're all posting these things of like dudes hiding behind blinds with their gun. You can see them behind the blinds, and it just says, me watching all these people become preppers for me. It's just like, oh, you're gonna overstock. How are you gonna keep that around? It's just the overbuying thing is hilarious. I mean, because I don't know if you guys know this, but there is not an actual shortage of food or supplies within the entire market. At least as of right now, there is tons more food that is still in these processing plants and hasn't even been fully processed or handed out. A lot of it's in cold storage and stuff like that. There's tons of food on the back end of these grocery stores and whatnot. So if you have not prepared for 4 weeks, don't fret too much. Just wait it out. You can get apps to see when your store restocks stuff, and be there early to get the food you need. Don't overbuy though. Don't overbuy. Another thing too that I'm going to say real quick, if you see a WIC sticker, WIC, next to something you normally buy, don't buy that, because people who are on WIC, which are new mothers and new families, they have no other option but to get that. They don't have an option to turn in those WIC vouchers to get some other brand of milk. No, they have to get that milk. They don't have the option to turn that into, get some other types of fruits and vegetables. They have to get these specific types of fruits and vegetables. So if you try and to avoid those WIC labels as much as possible, that way you're not, possibly hurting especially with all this overbuying. If you are going to overbuy, especially stay away from that shit. Because you're hurting, young families and kids doing that. They don't have an option to buy anything else, and so for this whole thing, stay away from WIC shit. Anyways, do you have anything else you want to add, Shawn?
I got nothing, man. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, right. Good luck. Thanks again for tuning in to Skulls and Knives podcast. Make sure you check out Rogue American Apparel, all that other shit I told you about before. Yeah, and thanks, Shawn, for coming on.
Hey, anytime. Let's do it again sometime.
Hell yeah. All right, y'all. Deuces.
Bye.